My family got started in this by happenstance. My dad began the business in '64. When I graduated from high school, became involved with the business predominantly at that point in time as a custom welding operation. In the summers, I began in '64, full-time 1970. I guess probably the opportunity to do as many varied and diverse things as we have done. Had the opportunity to work with some really great people. Most of my staff is pretty tenured, probably closer to a lot of them than I am to a lot of my family members. The Whitney laser is integral to probably about 90% of what we do. Having parts right to begin with is critical to downstream operations. Mismatches cause additional work, or maybe just total remaking of the part. A lot of the customers we work through, when we send them components, they're going to feed them directly into parts that maybe they have produced in-house or been produced by others. They don't like for them to show up and have to rework them before they can use them. In a lot of cases, the customers we're working with are far enough out of town, it's not as simple as just rerunning them apart, putting it in the back of a truck, and carrying it to them. It's an overnight deal, or maybe a couple of days on a truck. Our first experience with Whitney equipment goes back to 1978. We purchased a 647C punch plasma, and then we just used it in a variety of applications since then, and still running it today. We rode up with my dad and I and my son rode up to Rockford with Herman Green. We walked out, they had a purchase order in hand, and we came back and set up with our bank to get the financing for it so we could pay them and they bring the machine in and set it up. Fairly easy. We purchased our Whitney laser and got it operational in 2003. Along the way, we've learned probably how to use it to affect downstream and benefit us as we move into welding operations, if we're doing specialty fittings that we're going to sell to customers where they have to have a nice fit when they put all the pieces together. Use it to go through and do some pre-processing in lieu of drilling. It's probably been a lot more involved in our operation than I ever would have thought to start with. I think early on when we bought it, there was just probably a sense that it was just a really high-end plasma or oxy-fuel cutting machine, and it's turned into be a lot more than that. When we purchased the laser we've got right now, I guess probably the first thing we were looking for was a laser. Beyond that, sheet size was a major consideration. The ability to go from the thinner materials up to the thicker materials was a draw. At that time, Whitney was probably about on this type of machine, they were about the only ones that had 6 kW machines. They were ahead of the curve on that. The machine helps us be more productive by allowing us maybe to consolidate secondary operations into a single stage. And since that is all CAD driven, we can be a little more accurate with it. It saves time and money mostly from elimination of processes. The ability to go through and take multiple parts of the same sheet thickness and group them together on larger plate sizes. Rather than handling multiple plates, we might put a single plate on that machine, and to do on a smaller machine, we might have to load 4 plates. If we've got everything set the way that it should be, downstream cleaning is either non-existent or greatly reduced. I can do stuff with my laser that a lot of people can't do. A lot of the projects that we work on, we're working with larger sheet sizes. There are not a lot of places around that can accommodate the sheet sizes that we have. That permits us in many circumstances to go through and make a single piece component rather than having to go through and kludge together 2 or 3 pieces, weld them, be concerned about heat draw, some of the other stuff that may go along with it. So that's probably one of the things that excites me, especially when we see some larger projects to be done with physical part sizes. It gives us, gives us a little bit of an edge. W.A. Whitney to be a very fine company. They and we have both gotten older together since we first put our machine in. I have a lot of people I consider friends up there that are very, very knowledgeable about the industry. Seem to always be looking for a better, more effective way to do something. I would recommend Whitney. They're a great organization. They've always tried to do right by me. I have telephone numbers of most of the key players up there that can go to battle for me if I have problems. They have proved to me over time they stand behind what they do.